on the streets with a lot of free time, that's when we see our gun violence explode. So I think some of the, one way we do it is keeping track of group activity even prior to the summer letting out. I didn't want to mention specific community groups because I knew that I was not going to remember them all, and I didn't want to upset anybody by forgetting them. But I'll just give one example. We've been involved with the Blueprint for Peace, which is a Michigan Transformation Collective, I believe is, I'm probably getting that wrong, is running that. I don't know, Chief, if you want to speak a little bit on Alpac, or if you can provide any more information. Anyway, go ahead.
I think one of the things that's been extremely helpful, and intentionally we've been doing this at the department for the last 5 years, is accessibility to different folks within the department. So many of you have been to the quarterly meetings that Kalamazoo Public Safety have, and I mean, the chief, I think everyone in the city of Kalamazoo has a cell phone. I mean, he puts his cell phone there. We also have our community collaborator, LaTanya Turner, and it's amazing how much information that the community provides to her that helps us to prevent crimes and also gives us additional information, so it allows us to have access to different organizations. So I think the biggest thing that we've had in the last few years is how the community has direct access to the department to be able to relay information. Hope that was helpful, or did you?
It was, and I guess a follow-up question is, does your department reach out to other departments within the state and nationally to see what programs or lessons learned from their programs to help reduce the gun violence?
Yeah, not only that, not nationally or locally also, or when I say locally, within the state, we constantly send our officers, and even from the chiefs on down, to different programs, and we come back when they have trainings to find what are best practices and how we implement. Prime example, the gun amnesty program that we have. The chief went to a conference in Washington, D.C. Gun amnesty program is where anyone can turn in a gun at a local church that's participating in. So you walk into your room, one of your child has a gun, it's hidden away, you don't know what to do. You can take the gun to one of the participating churches, drop it off. There's a gun case there. The pastor would take care of whatever the church it is. No questions asked, and it's taken down, and we would take it to and put it in safekeeping. We've had 8 guns this year turned in. So those partnerships that we have, and that was a great example of a best practice that we got from another department, I believe out of Tennessee, that we took their model and implemented here. So we have quite a few. GVI is another example. I think it was implemented, I wasn't here 10 or 12 years, 15 years ago, out of New York. So we do take quite a few different practices to make sure, and we mold it to our department.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just wanted to kind of add to that as well. Every week there's a community partnership meeting that the department holds with nonprofit organizations at the department, so that we're sharing information that can help them accomplish their mission better. And there are other agencies or other gun violence reduction programs around the country that we've seen where there's no communication between, or no collaboration between, the nonprofit groups that are working at a community level and local law enforcement. And we kind of looked at that and said, we don't understand how that can be successful, because you need the information sharing to do it correctly. I mean, like I said, enforcement is one side of it, and I do believe it has to be done. There's those you certainly cannot reach, and that's where enforcement comes into play, or if needed for intervention. But that basic community level where you can leverage those relationships that are already existing are even more important. So certainly we are, our reduction strategy can't exist without the community.
Other questions?
Sure.
Just one more and I'm done. When you discuss community involvement, which is something that's very important with the current political environment, have you seen a decrease in community involvement?
Yeah, I would say in the opposite direction. There is more involvement, because I believe people are worried, they're concerned about whether it be their own family or their neighbors or their friends. And it certainly hasn't decreased.
Thank you.
Of course. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
At this point, I'd like to open it up for board member comments. We were to have a report out on the report on the policy 339, Fuses camera integration and monitoring platform, but we're going to take that into our after session to allow our new members to fully comment on it before we report out on that. So we'll postpone that till another meeting. So at this time, I'd just like to thank Vice Chair Allen for facilitating the meeting last month in my absence. So thank you for stepping up and doing that. Any other board member comments at this time? Okay, I don't hear any, so we'll move on to citizen comments. And next is the opportunity for general public comments. Speakers will have 3 minutes for their comments. We will start with anyone in person and then go to call-in speakers. People who want to offer comments via phone should call 888-382-9556, starting now through the end of this public comment period. While the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board welcomes your comments, this is not a time for dialogue between speakers and board members or city staff. So that your comments can be addressed, we ask you to provide your contact information. Also, please be mindful of the time limit and finish your sentence when the time does expire. I do not see anyone waiting to give any comments in person. Are there any call-in comments?
I'm checking now, Chair. There are no call-in comments.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to announcing our upcoming meetings. The next meeting is May 13th, and the following month it's on June 10th. At the same time, 6 p.m. in the commission chambers. At this time, if there are no other comments or announcements, I'd like to adjourn the meeting and we will move into a closed work group session. Meeting is now adjourned.